Hey, friends, welcome to Rebel Tribe After Hours. This is the space where we slow things down, drop the polish, and let real conversations unfold. You know, the kind you'd have after the microphones are supposed to be off. Tonight, I'm joined by Piere Ingram. Pierre is a writer, a poet, and someone who uses words to give voice to experiences that often stay unspoken. His work isn't about perfection or performance. It's about truth, expression, and what happens when you finally let yourself be heard. So we're not here with a script. We're just going to see where the conversation leads. So settle in
Mhm.
because this is After Hours. Pierre, welcome.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
So, what's the story behind this season of your life? I
uh,
mean,
I just
author, okay? Author, that's
was,
cool.
was really focusing on writing books and getting them published, and being a man of faith and just sharing transparency and my authentic voice with the world because authenticity is the new currency, uh, and relationships.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yes. I am. Yes. You are preaching my language because I holler about that all the time in my business groups and my other groups. It's like, please be authentic. Stop with all this other nonsense. And
yeah,
yes, it's all about relationships. It's
yep.
we're not little numbers. We're real people. So if you want to do anything with us, business, whatever, build the relationship first. Ah,
Relationship is key. Um, Number one, relationships are spiritual, and business is spiritual too. Um, so if you want to really build a business, you have to walk in faith and not by sight. Um, so in times when I was writing my books and and there was a lot of obstacles, all I saw was opportunity. Some people see obstacles and not the opportunity, and that's the part of walking in faith. I believed that every obstacle that was in front of me had an opportunity in it. Even when I came to Orlando, Florida, and I moved here, I was homeless for like a year and sleeping at bus stops and all types of stuff, and still going to work and working on my book anyways. And I still got it published through all the obstacles because I knew there was opportunity inside the obstacle. And that's the part of walking in faith is to believe. And just because I was sleeping at the bus stop, I never allowed it to stop my bus. And I
I
allowed,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember you putting it out there that you were homeless for a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I still am.
I wish there
But
was more I could do.
now I
It's like,
sleep at my job. But these obstacles is teaching me that deep roots grow in the darkness. And when the storm comes, the trees with the deeper roots stay planted. And sometimes these obstacles are to allow your roots to grow deeper into the ground for your foundation could be solid. And that's something I learned through this circumstance of challenges that's allowing me to be bigger than I thought I could be. Uh, and these obstacles are necessary if you really want to build something that's lasts and really leave a legacy beyond anything you could ask, imagine, or think. And that's why I realized that this journey was about not the destination, but the journey. And I really get excited about the next steps. So I just want to share with anyone that's going to listen to this that the obstacles are the way. And there, in every obstacle, there's an opportunity to become the better version of you. There's nothing that comes from uh, an easy journey. Nothing comes from that. But as you trust in God and you keep moving forward, even through the obstacles. Even though I was sleeping at the bus stop, even though I had to sleep at the convention center, I was sleeping in all different places. I still was writing my book because I didn't allow anything to stop my bus. Because when the world was doubting me, God was rerouting me to a place that I could never imagine, ask, or think. And it's the same thing with you. I don't know what you're going through right now, but the obstacles are the way. And I
So,
realized,
I mean, you were home. You're still homeless, apparently.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I
Why
embrace
did
all
you,
of it.
what made you realize that in spite of all this, these words had to come out? I mean, it's poetry, which is not everybody writes poetry, and I've read the book. It's good. It's good. The poems are. What made you realize these words had to come out?
Because I knew that there was something that God was placed in me. A prepared messenger is better than a prepared message, and it's the journey and the obstacle that prepares the messenger to deliver the message. It's not about it's not about the message. It's a lot about the messenger behind the message. It's about obedience. It's about being bold, even through the storms when you feel like you want to give up, that God is enough to get you through. And He wanted me to express to others when the obstacles in life gets hard, you have to learn how to become harder than life, and that He's never going to leave your side. And when I deliver words, my words not just to perform, it's for healing, because you can heal through words, because words matter. And words not just, they just don't matter, they are matter. They become your reality. And I know
Word.
if you learn how to express yourself in the right way, you can actually heal yourself and heal others and inspire other people to keep going when the obstacles get hard. In every mountain, there is opportunity, and every hill, there is people that you need to share your words with, for you can allow themselves, for they can allow themselves to heal through your inspirational words of to inspire people's hearts and their minds and their spirits to keep going when times do get hard.
I say that, yeah, that's one of my favorite little mantras is words have power. I try to tell people that all the time. Is words have power behind them, especially the words that we say to ourselves. So you
Absolutely. That's the most
so you
important part. The things that we say to ourselves are so important. They're more
yes.
important than the words that people say to you. And we always talk to ourselves in a bad way. Some people, oh, I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. I'm like, I tell people, don't talk to yourself like that, because your mind is always around the corner listening, and you're training your brain how to treat you.
I don't know how we get people to understand that though. I mean, I've tried forever and I still see people doing it to themselves all the time, saying
Yeah,
talking negatively to themselves, and they don't understand that the more they do that, the more ingrained that becomes in their belief system of who they are. And I know
definitely.
people don't believe you can change things simply by changing how you talk to yourself, but you absolutely can. Anyway, I'm not going to get up on
Absolutely.
my soapbox.
You can
This is
change.
your thing.
It's so true, though. I wanted you to keep going because it's so true. Like, every seed, every thought is a seed, every word is a seed, and you're always planting in the garden of your future. I, I could tell you your future by the way that you talk to yourself now, because you're actually creating your future by the way that you speak to yourself. And Proverbs like 18:20, Proverbs 18:20, it says, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat its fruits. It didn't say maybe eat its fruits, it shall eat its fruit. And that, guess what fruit that is? You could be speaking life or death. People in God's economy, God says, I feed two birds with one piece of bread. In the world's economy, they say I kill two birds with one stone. One shows death. I killed two birds with one stone is death. I feed two birds with one piece of bread is life. If you could see the difference between that by the sayings, I'd rather have a question I can't answer than an answer I can't question. We have a lot of sayings that speak death, but we never question what is coming out of our mouths because everyone said it. You heard it so much repeatedly. But kill two birds with one stone is speaking death. Feed two birds with one piece of bread is speaking life. And we have to really speak life over ourselves. We wonder why our business is dying. We wonder why our relationships are dying because you're speaking death over them. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat its fruits.
Why do you think that is? Why are we so afraid to question the words that we use?
Because I feel like we got so used to repeating these things over and over. They got ingrained, like some of these old sayings. When it rains, it pours. Okay, when it rains, it pours blessings, right? But a lot of people meant it in like a negative way. Oh my God, when it rains, it pours. Yes, blessings. Change your words, change your life.
Huh. I never
That,
thought of it that way because, yeah, I grew up very poor. And so I heard a lot of those when it rains, it pours, and money doesn't grow on trees, and
yeah, all that
blah
stuff.
blah. All of the limiting belief talk that kept me from prospering for a very long time. Because even when I was making money, I couldn't hang on to it because I still had these limiting beliefs that told me I was not supposed to have money. That that's I would never be the kind of person that could actually have money, and it took me forever. I never thought of just like, okay, yeah, when it rains, it pours blessings and abundance and whatever.
Right, you
What?
got to
How
change
sweet!
the.
Just twist it. Just
You
change
just
it.
twist
Wow, my
it.
gosh.
You say, "Oh my God, I'm so upset." Yeah, no, this is set up for a comeback. Um, People say, "Oh, it's easier said than done." No, it's easier done than said. Once you get out of your head and you start to move your legs, because it takes that same energy to do something as it is to say something, and it takes the same energy to say something as it is to do something. And we
Huh.
forget, man, that our words come from our thoughts. So
So
if
now
we
I got to wonder how many of these sayings that we've been taught didn't really have negative connotations like that one. When it rains, it pours.
Yep. It's
It
easier
depends
said
on
than
how you
done.
look at it. It depends on how you look at it. So how many of these didn't really have negative connotations,
It
but we
does.
gave it to them anyway?
We gave them power. And that's so crazy because we don't ever think about those things. It's easier said than done. I always correct people when they say that. No, I say it's easier done than said. It's just that you're in your head, so you can't move your legs because you can only do one thing at a time. You're either going to move your legs or stay in your head, or you're either going to stay in your head or move your legs. You can only pick one of those. That's why in Proverbs 21:22 it says, those who trust in their thoughts are fools, but those who walk, action word, those who walk in wisdom shall be delivered. You only get wisdom through the experiences and the steps that you take in faith that you couldn't create in doubt. Ooh,
Sweet.
you
So,
only get the experience that you take in faith that you couldn't get in doubt.
huh. So I mean, you have all these words now in your book, especially. You put the words out there. It's almost like, I don't know, when it's like writing stopped being something you did. Because I've known you for a little bit, and I remember when you started writing, and it was just something you were doing, and now all of a sudden it's more like something you are, if that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
I am. It's becoming. I am poetry. It it's in my mind and my cells of my body. It's who I am. Once you become that who you are, everything comes simple. Um, it's not about doing something, it's about becoming something. And it's okay to think big in small places.
So you landed on poetry. I don't remember. Were you writing poetry? I think you were. I think were. We've known each other so long. I don't remember.
Yeah,
That's bad.
I've been writing poetry ever since I was 7 years old. But I turned it into uh they're not just performance words, they're healing words. I specifically write poetry for intimacy with people's minds and their hearts and to allow themselves to share themselves in a way to express their transparency for they can allow themselves to heal through words of expression and teaching people how to express themselves in a healthy way and help them to notice uh, those negative words that we've been saying to ourselves for so long. And that's why I put out poetry to allow people to gain awareness on the things that they say to themselves.
So poetry is your language, I guess. Do you think like all of us have a language that we speak better than other ways?
Yes,
Does everyone
absolutely.
have a language we speak best?
Yes, yes, we do. Absolutely.
So you're carrying, gosh, there's so many things I want to ask you, and this is not supposed to be an interview.
It's
This is
okay. No
not an
worries.
interview show.
Just let
But
just let it go. Just let it go how it go. Just
so
let it go. If
who
you
were
want to
you?
ask a question,
Yeah, I know. I'm letting it go. If I have questions, I'm just going to ask them. I know this is how this show is. Whatever this show is when it happens. So I
it
have so many
doesn't.
things I want to ask you because we haven't talked in a while. Who were you? I mean, I know the you that I saw. We haven't ever met personally, but we've talked on Messenger quite a bit actually, and we've known each other for a while. Who were you before you had words for what you were carrying? Does that make
Oh,
sense?
who was I before I started healing and being able to express myself in a form of inspiration and transparency, not just to change the mind, but the spirit and soul. Who I was an alcoholic. I was an addict. I was in addiction for a long time. And then one day, uh, in a split second, I lost my dad and my mom in the same 6 months, and everything changed. And I realized that I was meant for more. When it rains, it pours blessings, right? Um, and that's the thing that I learned from losing both of them in the same 6 months. That when it rains, it pours blessings because it allowed me to slow down and it allowed me to find my purpose in life. And that is to express myself in a way to show other people that they can express themselves and be transparent and authentic in a way that doesn't care about what other people think, but they care more about their purpose and to allow other people to be free. Amen.
So how did writing, especially this book, how did writing help you reclaim these parts of yourself that you thought were lost?
Oh, because when I write on the subconscious level. It's like my spirit telling me through my words which way to go, how to inspire myself, not just myself, but others. And I learned this through hard times and the darkest places of my life that things grow in the darkness. And sometimes the deep rooted words come from deep rooted places. Let me say that again. Deep rooted words come from deep rooted places that my words aren't just surface level, but they're so deep that you have to analyze with a microscope and really focus on becoming instead of just doing. Because we do stuff every day, but that's like the regular 9 to 5 and the regular work life, hamster on a wheel. We just do life instead of becoming life. We keep doing things and wasting a lot of energy instead of slowing down and allowing God to plant dreams in rooms that don't match your size.
So I feel like the title of your book, I Am Poetry, pretty well says it says what it means. I mean, what does it look like to be your work, to be poetry instead
Oh,
of like hiding behind it?
I'm like, damn, to be poetry is a life full of obstacles and challenges. It said, but hard things create an easy life, and easy things create a hard life. I realized that everything in life is to show you that you are not limited. You don't have any limitations, that you can keep sharing your word and your experience with the world and allow yourself to be free and don't and not allow your negative words to stop you, but to learn how to share healing words with the world. And I learned that from I learned that when I was younger, at the age of 7, when I first started writing poetry and expressing myself, just me alone in a room, writing and writing and writing, where I just couldn't stop. I was writing notebooks full of stuff all the time. And I realized it was my spirit talking to me, taking me places that I never even thought I could be. I remember in first grade when I wrote my first poem, Miss Johnson, in Miss Johnson class. She came up to me and she gave me my poem back, and she was like, "You didn't write this poem. This poem is too. It's like an adult wrote this poem." I was like, whoa. Then I realized I was thinking back about that time a couple of days ago, and I realized that it was my future me talking to me. I was like,
So
what?
so
That's
how do you know?
crazy.
I mean, it sounds, I don't know, your sounds, way to put this. It sounds like maybe back then even because most kids at the age of 7, when they were told, that the poem was too adult, I guess is was what she said. Most kids back then would have either stopped writing or would have edited themselves so that they were more acceptable.
Yes. But
So
I was always
why
the
why
guy
didn't
that
you?
I
Why
was
didn't
all
you?
I think it was that deep down in my soul, I was always the person that went against the grain, that never let obstacles or anyone stop me. Or I never even let me stop me. It says in the word of God, if God is for you, who could be against you? When God is for you, you can't even be against you. Say that again. When God is for you, you can't even be against you. Because a lot of times we're walking in faith, but doubting at the same time in our minds. Um,
So how do you know? How do you know when you're living in alignment with your voice, when you're walking with your purpose versus editing yourself for the world?
it's a constant pull in the inside, pull and push. You're constantly fighting with yourself. You're constantly wondering what other people think about you. Um, that's when you're out of alignment. You're constantly looking at the time to see how fast. Oh, you know how you hear people say time is going fast. It's going too fast. It's because they're out of alignment. Because when you get in alignment, time doesn't exist. Ooh, when you get in alignment, time doesn't exist because you step into the internal being that God created you to be. because I know you heard a lot. They say we're just uh internal beings having a human experience, right? You know, a lot of people say that we're human beings just having we internal beings having a human experience. And when you step into I am poetry or who you are, I am an artist, I am entrepreneur, I am a millionaire, I am a billionaire. You step into becoming instead of just doing, and you step into the internal being, you get in alignment. When you're out of alignment, you're always focusing on the time. You're always focusing, oh, time's going fast, time going too slow. Um, uh, what can I do to become successful? You hear, so you are successful. The more you become, the more that you get in alignment with who you are, time doesn't exist. And you become more, and you stop looking to the left or to the right, and you move forward with faith, no matter what obstacle gets in your way. Because you're not focused on the obstacle, because obstacles are in time, but becoming is in the internal world. In turn is in eternity. And you start to get in alignment.
Yeah, I don't know what that exactly how to, but yeah, when I'm working, when I'm writing, especially, I lose all track of time. My husband will
Yes.
come up and knock on the door and go like, "Do you realize how long you've been up
Yeah,
here?" I'm
that's
like,
it.
"No, has it been that long?"
That's it
'Cause
right
yeah, I
there.
do. I lose complete track of time.
That's when
He's
you
always
know.
getting on me about that. He's like, "You have no concept of time." Well, no, I do, but I was immersed in something, so I lost track of time. Sorry.
Yes, and that's when you're in alignment. That's when you're tapping into the becoming. Because greatness doesn't need permission from the world.
So when you say I am poetry, what does that mean, like on a personal level? What does that mean?
What it means to me is I'm that person that came out of the darkness and into the light when I was 7 years old, when I was molested, when I when I had to step into out of childhood into an adult at the age of 7, when my innocence turned into guilt and shame. And now I learned how to turn guilt into shame, into words of inspiration, that you turn pain into purpose, that you turn doubt into faith, and you start to walk in your calling. And I just don't use poetry to perform. I use poetry as a form of intimacy with people's hearts and spirits to align them with their purpose and how you can transfer pain energy into purpose energy.
So you kept that quiet for a while. Um, what is that? What does that silence protect us from?
It protects us from becoming who God created you to be, the person that's great, that doesn't need permission from the world to share their transparency. Earlier, I said that authenticity is the new currency. Authenticity builds relationships. That transparency builds relationships that performing for the world can't. We all perform for the world. I see it all the time. They only show the good parts of life instead of the trials and tribulations, the stuff that actually gets you through life. An easy life doesn't get you anywhere. But going through the obstacles is still standing and be able to share words of inspiration, even though what you've been through was harsh and it was hard. And sometimes some days you wanted to break. Some days you thought you made a mistake. Some days you just wanted to drown in a lake. But you still kept getting up. You still kept breathing the air. You still kept going even though you thought life wasn't fair. And you
But
still
what does
kept
that
believing.
silence cost? I mean, it sounds like it
Silence
cost you
costs a
quite a bit.
lot. Silence costs a lot. It costs you more than uh, sharing your voice with the world. There's a lot of people that, but sometimes when you live for the applause, you die in silence. When you live for other people's applause, if they're not applauding for you, you die in silence. So you got
So
to
then,
be aware of that too.
so you started writing your poetry, and then I don't, was that kind of like a catalyst? How does writing? I mean, I'm assuming that probably didn't share your poetry with a lot of people right off the bat. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I didn't share a lot of things. It was a form of therapy for me. I shared it with myself to allow myself to look at myself in the water and see my reflection. That's what writing is. When you write, it's writing is just a mirror staring back at you of who you could be or who you think you are at that moment. Because you could write from the future you or the past you. I need everybody to like pay attention to this here. You could write from the future you or you could write from the past you. And that's what I realized. That if I write from the future me, the one that's becoming better every day, I could actually pull myself into my future and out of my past. Because when you write, you're creating a new reality for yourself. And what I realized when I was younger, I was writing from a place of shame and guilt. But now it's like, dang, I got the power to change my words. So I started writing things that was pulling me more into my future and out of my past, but still allowing myself to show people and where I came from through my old poetry and as it developed into me becoming more aware that my words matter and they're not just matter, but they are matter. They become your reality. They become they're so powerful that you can move mountains.
So how can writing, whether it be poetry or whatever, even if it's kind of messy private
It's
writing,
okay.
how can
It's okay.
how can writing become a form of like self permission, I guess would be the word.
Because I know you I heard you say how can writing even if it's messy, but remember they say a lot of people say you can turn your mess into a message. That it's not messy. It's just you trying to get past the old you. And the old you was kind of chaotic. The old you was kind of messy. But remember, all greatness starts messy at first, right? When you're working towards something great, it looks really messy at first. It look like at a puzzle. When you get the puzzle from the store, all the pieces are everywhere in the box. And then as you start to take piece by piece and you put them together, it starts to get more organized. It starts to look a lot better. And
Would you read us one of your poems?
yes, it's okay to think big in small places. It's okay to think big in small places, to plant dreams of rooms that don't match your size. Greatness doesn't need permission. It just needs a heart that refuses to shrink its vision. I learned not to measure my future by the space I was standing in. Some call it limitation. I call it God working from within. I built hope in quiet while the world rushed past me loud. I was learning how to stand tall before I ever stood out in a crowd. Small places taught me patience, taught me how to listen and wait, how to trust when the doors stayed closed and still believe it's not too late. I carry purpose in my pocket, face folded next to fear. Every step felt uncertain, but obedience kept me here. I fell where nobody clapped, got up when nobody saw. Learned that strength isn't noise, it's getting back up and getting at it all. God shaped me in hidden seasons when the spotlight wasn't kind. What felt like being overlooked was really him protecting my time. So if you're growing in tight spaces, don't rush what's being formed. Roots grow deep in the dark before they ever face the storm. It's okay to think big in small places. That's where vision learns to breathe. Because when God expands your territory, you won't break, you'll only believe.
I love the book. I do. I love poetry anyway, but I like it's not way to put it. So many people these I don't know. I've read a lot of poetry that's like you can tell they were trying really hard to get a certain rhythm or a certain rhyme go or something. It sounds more constructed, I guess is the word, than just what you're feeling coming out on paper. That I hope I'm putting this right because I'm not
It's
making much
okay.
sense to myself.
It's okay. It's okay. Just, just keep,
but but that's what I love about it because you can tell from the words that you wrote that you were feeling all of this. It's not just something that you didn't just sit down and write, well, I'm going to write this poem about this thing because it'll sell.
no,
And I
I don't
see a
do
lot
that.
of books right now. I see a
I don't
lot
do
of books
that.
like that right now. Like I wrote this book because I think it'll make me some money. And I'm not gonna lie and say that I've never done that. My first book was all about making money. Okay. That's what it was all about. It was all about making money. Freely
Yeah.
admit.
But if you can't do it for free, how you expect to get paid for something that you want to do for free? People want to just
So,
get paid, but it's more than that.
well, yeah, I was not quite as aware of things when I wrote that. That was
You
10
know
years
what?
ago. That
Because
was 10 years ago. I've matured.
time only pays those who show up. Let me say that again. Time only pays those who show up. If you don't show up doing things for free, how you expect time to pay you for for things that you want to be paid for? So time pays those who show up for free. Time pays those who show up for free
Let me
because
see.
God created everything in time. God said, "I shall hasten it in its own time and God's timing." So when you start to show up for free, all those things add up, and then one day you get that $1 million check. Like, dang! But some
I'm good
because
with that.
it's in God's timing, and He adds all these things up. I remember, I think it's in Isaiah. He says, "I shall hasten it in His time." That's why greatness only builds in time too, and we want things fast, but it don't work like that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if he's going to send me $1 million check, you better hurry up because I'm getting old. I'm running out of time.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're not. You don't run in out of time when you're in alignment.
Mm,
You never run out of time when you're in alignment because is everything that's for you is for you. It's like can't nobody stop birth and can't nobody stop death. And it's the same thing with your purpose and your calling and what God has for you in your life. Can't nobody stop it. When it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. No matter what.
so if someone listening feels like maybe their voice has been quiet for a long time, what's one small way that they
That's,
can begin to speak again?
that takes a lot of boldness and a lot of time with yourself and God. It takes a lot of have to be courageous. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's hard, but great things don't come easy.
So what's
But I
next?
would say that start one word at a time, start one letter at a time. A yard is hard, but an inch is a cinch. A yard is hard, but an inch is a cinch.
What's asking for your voice now? What's next? What's been asking for your voice lately?
Speaking, public speaking, and just sharing sharing my hope and experiences with the world, and just helping people in addiction recovery centers gain hope again and show them how powerful the words are. Because I know there's a lot of rehab centers and stuff, homeless shelters and stuff where they don't know about the power of their words. And the reason why they're still in that same place is because the things that they're saying to themselves. And if I could allow myself to go in there and just share the word, a good word with them and give them beauty for ashes and give them more hope. We can see people step into their God-given purpose and calling, no matter where you're at in life, to realize that words are powerful, and you could change your direction of your sailboat by the by your tongue,
It's
by the
awesome.
things that come out of your mouth. It could change your whole life. It changed my whole life when I started to change my poetry from victim into victory. It changes your whole life and shifts you. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens over time when you get in alignment because you're not focused on the time anymore. You're only focused on the purpose. And that comes from pain. You got to transform that pain into purpose and get in alignment and out of time and tap into your becoming, not the doing. I should always like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. But I realize it's not about doing, it's about becoming. It's about that I am. Who are you? That's the question. Who are you? Who did God create you to be? It's not about doing things, taking action. It's about who are you becoming in the sequences of life. It says in Proverbs 21:22, those who trust in their thoughts are fools, but those who walk in wisdom shall be delivered. Not may be delivered, but you're going to be delivered if you just walk in the wisdom. And wisdom, it says in the word of God, in the beginning there was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. If the word was with God and the word is God, why are we speaking death over our lives? And God is a God of life, not death. But he has to bring life. He brings life through our words. But he did his part. Now we got to do our part into speaking life over ourselves. It's not I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. It's I'm going to feed two birds with one piece of bread, for we all can get ahead.
So the book is I Am Poetry. It's on Amazon,
Yes.
and I will put the link to that in the show notes. And if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
I saw Facebook,
Facebook?
Piere
Okay.
Ingram. And then on
Okay.
my website, it's newlifepoetry.live.
Okay.
Newlifepoetry.live on my
Okay.
website.
Okay.
So I
So I
do.
will put links to the book and the website and to Pierre's Facebook in the show notes. So if you want to connect to him, and I definitely recommend that you get the book. Like I said, it's good.
In
I can't think of
Instagram,
another word to describe it. It's good.
in, in Instagram, at Piere Ingram, Piereingram, at Piere Ingram, Pieringram.
Okay. I will put links to all of those in the show notes so that everybody can find them for you. So, I want to thank you for showing up the way you did because you were totally honest and open, and you showed up with your heart. That's important. So
Yeah,
to
we gotta get
everyone
out of our
listening,
heads. I was looking at a Tony Robbins video, and he was talking to Alex Hormozy, and he was telling him that he's been looking ahead for so long that he don't even know what it is to live out of his heart. You know, because most of
well,
us we be in our heads, but like the Word of God says, those who trust in their thoughts are fools, but those who walk in wisdom shall be delivered. You can't trust your thoughts. Our thoughts be lying to us every time. You can only trust what God said. I don't get in my head because that's where most people die at. All those
Everyone
dreams,
listening, go ahead.
all those dreams and stuff that we could create. We get in our heads and we never produce anything. I mean, Les Brown said the richest place in the earth is the graveyard. I say it's in your head because before the graveyard come, before anything comes to reality in your hand, it starts in your mind. And a lot of people dig their grave in their mind before even manifest into a graveyard on earth. Your graveyard starts in your mind.
Well, if something in this conversation stirred something in you, to everyone listening, if it stirred like a memory or a truth or maybe a feeling that you haven't even named yet, don't rush past it. Okay, that pause that matters. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes finding your voice doesn't start with speaking louder. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. It starts with listening more closely to yourself. So if you want to connect with Pierre or get his book or explore his work, I'll put those links in the show notes. And as always, thank you for spending part of your after hours with me and with Pierre. And until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and don't edit yourself out of your own story.
Oh, that's good. Don't edit yourself out of your. A lot of people do that too. I used to do
I
that for a
know.
long time. I used to edit myself out of my own story, and I like you said. Let's say about the pause. There's power in the pause, and that's one thing I've been teaching myself in my poetry too. In certain spots in my uh, poetic, life changing words, is to pause in between sentences and let people just suck that all in. Yeah,
Well, Pierre, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it.
yes.
And you
It
will
was great. God bless you.
too.